Hello everyone and welcome along to this, the second in our series of tutorials focused on this year's DCG student assignment. My name is Des Kelly and I'm a lecturer of computer-aided design at GMIT Letterfrack. And if you'd like to find out more about what we do in Letterfrack and the degree programs we offer in furniture design, wood technology and teacher education, you can visit our Facebook and Twitter pages. One of the things we also do in GMIT Letterfrack is teach a wide range of computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacture software packages. And of course the software package we're going to work on today is SolidWorks. This is the project we've been working on so far. In the previous tutorial we drew the main body of the blender. In this tutorial we're going to draw the handle of the blender. And in the final tutorial in the series, we're going to draw the blender blade, which, as I said before, is actually quite complex. After you've completed these, if you want more information, please see the GMIT Letterfrack YouTube channel, where we have a wide range of tutorials available. Some tutorials also in relation to this year's assignment will cover etching onto glass, applying high quality decals and stickers, connections between plastic components, curved, twisted cords, and many more, such as how to apply high quality renderings and generate high quality renderings of your projects. So let's begin. So in the last tutorial we got this far with the project. We used the lofted boss base feature to generate the main shape of the base and jug. We used sketch pictures to help us define the exact precise curvature of the shape of the jug. We used the shell feature to hollow out the main body of the jug. The revolved boss base feature to create this lip. We used splines extensively to guide and manage and steer the curves. And finally we used the split feature to split the solid into two components, the base and the jug. In this tutorial we're going to draw the handle. We're going to use sketch pictures more for the same reason, to carefully allow us to define and trace around the exact curvature of the handle. We'll again use the shell feature to hollow out the handle. The handle itself will be created with a special type of extruded boss base feature called a mid-plane extrusion. We'll again use splines to help control the curvature, and we're going to use fillets, but a special type of fillets called asymmetric fillets to round over the corners of the handle. We'll then use an intersection curve to generate this flat supporting rib of the base of the handle, and then when we create the handle we'll ensure that the handle sticks onto the jug correctly using the combine feature to merge multiple solids together. So let's begin, and this is where we left off in the last tutorial. So what I want to do is focus on the handle, and just for neatness and for to help my rotation, I will right click the base and hit hide, and now at least we're just dealing with the jug. So on the front plane I will start a sketch, and again I must open a command. I'll open a line just because you need to have a command active and have the sketch fully opened before you can go to Tools, Sketch Tools, Sketch Picture. And this time I'm going to bring in another image I've taken. As I've said in the previous video, if you're drawing along, simply take a screen grab of that image now, save it as a JPEG and use that as your sketch picture. Or take a photograph with a digital camera and use that. So I'm going to take a moment to try and size that. It was a pretty good guess by me to begin with. So I'm going to try and size that and put it just into position like that. Like I did before, I will select full image and set the transparency to about 3/4 and press the green tick. I also want to be able to see what happens inside the jug, because as it stands now I have no perception of how thick the walling is, so I will change the display style to shaded with hidden lines visible. Or sorry, just hidden lines visible, not shaded. So to begin with, I will start a line up here, somewhere approximately where the curve stops being a curve and transitions to a line. Draw a line across and make sure I end the line within the walling. That dotted line represents the inner portion of the jug, this line the outer portion. So come somewhere in the middle. Then draw a line downwards and across. So right click and select. So that's all I want at the top of the jug for now. At the bottom of the jug, I'm going to ignore this rib for now and simply draw a line from there to there. If you wish, you can dimension that more clearly now, but I'm just going to leave it like that for the time being. So now I want to call up the spline tool, and there are two curves here, a curve as far as the corner there, and quite a sharp point, and another gentle curve down to the bottom. Whenever you have a sharp turn like that, it's much more desirable to click the point there, and put in a single spline, and also repeat the procedure here. Click the point there and the point there, right click, select, and a single spline. What I can now do is click this curve and use those diamond drag handles to adjust the curve as I see fit. In order to prevent a kink there where the curve transitions to the straight line, I want those to be tangential. One way to do that is to click this diamond and set a horizontal constraint. And now if you wish, if it's not just right, use this drag handle to get it looking the way you want it. Up a little bit. Same applies for this spline here. Click it to activate the handles and use the diamond to drag the curve out wherever you want it. That looks good. This curve, however, has more than one curve. It's actually a compound. It curves in, out, and in a little. So I will need more than 2 points here. But try to get away with putting in as few points as possible. So click there, maybe a point there, one there, and one there. So I didn't do a bad job at all. The first job I have to do is activate the spline and tell this drag handle to transition tangentially. So click the diamond, click horizontal, and then just spend a couple of moments trying to get it lined up with the graphic. And it's not bad at that. Now usually when you change handles like that, it might have an effect on the rest of the spline. So I'm just going to click this line and drag it back in. It's not critical what all those dimensions are. So in order to fully define the sketch, I would now have to start putting on dimensions. But the handiest way to do that, when you want to sketch over an image and you don't actually care about the exact sizes, you just care about the form, the shape of it, is to go to Sketch and expand this Display Delete Relations section and select Fully Defined Sketch. And then press the green tick and it locks the sketch into position for you. It's a little messy because it puts in all the dimensions needed, but at least it fully defines the sketch. So we'll close out of the sketch and we now have a sketch there on that plane. And just for clarity, I will turn it back to shaded with edges, and I will do a regular features extruded boss base, click one of the lines in the sketch, and it tries to extrude the handle. But it only extrudes it one way. I wanted it to be extruded both ways, so I will change it from a blind to a mid plane, and I'm going to set the thickness of that handle to, let's just say 25 mil for now, and press the green tick to approve it. So as a regular feature, just a regular extrude feature, it now becomes merged and welded into this jug. So that's all one solid. However, if I right click that feature, select edit feature, it brings me back to this stage. Just before I approve the extrude feature, I want you to select, or rather deselect, merge result. What that does is it creates that new solid, the handle in this case, as a separate body. I can now right click the jug and hide it. The reason I want to do that is I want to be able to edit and shell this handle independently of the jug. I've drawn this a few times now, and with both components, sorry, I'll just turn that back on, both components visible and welded together, I found it troublesome to fill it and put the shell feature into the handle. So it just seems to work a good bit easier for me if I can work with this handle on its own. So before I actually start the shell, what I will do is I will add some fillets to it. So call up the fillet command, and I want to change it from a symmetric fillet to an asymmetric fillet. And I now have two settings. So I will leave the top one at 5, but change the bottom one to 12.5. And now you can see if I click this edge, it will put a 5mm fillet one direction and a 12.5mm the other. Now as it happens, that's not the way I wanted it, so I'm going to deselect that line and select this line. That is the way I want it. I want the fillet to come in exactly halfway here. So I'm going to select that edge and the opposite edge over there. That looks good, and approve that. Now call up the same fillet feature again, but this time reverse them. Change 5 to 12.5 and 12.5 to 5. Now I should be able to fillet the other two remaining corners. That one and that one. And that looks pretty good. So it's already looking more organic. We have a bit of work to do on it yet. So now that I have that handle looking like that, what I can do is call up the shell feature, leave it at 3mm, and I want to remove that face, that face, that face, and also the bottom face down there. So press the green tick to approve, and it hollows it out quite nicely for me. Now when I turn back on the visibility of the jug, I can see I have the exact shape of the handle I wanted. I just found that if I did not separate those pieces out into two separate solids before I did that previously, it did not work. But now I can simply join them back together. So if I go to Insert, Features, Combine, make sure the operation type is selected to is set to Add. I can select both bodies with a click, press the green tick, and now they're back to one solid again. Now the act of joining them together has renamed jug to combine one, but I still can see that it's one solid. So now let's sort out the flat rib support structure at the bottom of the jug like this. So we're missing that flat surface that extends from this plane onto the curvature of the jug. So I actually do want to start a sketch on that plane and look 90 degrees to it, but when I draw it, I'm going to find it difficult because I have no depth perception of where that plane will run on and intersect with the curvature. So the best way to do that is to use an intersection curve. So select the face, open a sketch on that face, but stop short of actually drawing anything, and go to Tools, Sketch Tools, Intersection Curve, and click the flat surface at the bottom of our handle and also the curvature of the jug. And when you press the green tick, it should give you that black line, which is the intersection or the continuation of that flat surface until it cuts the curved surface. So approve that. Now I'm still in the sketch, so I'll activate a line, look normal to it, and I want to pick up the midpoint of this line there and draw a line like that and snap onto the arc somewhere, not at the end point, but somewhere along there. You could mirror it, but it's just as easy in this case to do the same line at the bottom, snap onto the midpoint and click onto the curve there somewhere. And I will use a center line as a reference like that. To make sure the center line doesn't move, you could always pick the ends like that and press the padlock just to lock it into position, or the anchor I should say. Now I will use a smart dimension to set an angle there between the two lines of, let's say, 12 degrees. The reason that didn't work actually is because 12 degrees is too much. 12 degrees would make this point move up there. So we'll actually go to about 8 degrees. 8 degrees will ensure that the line does not move off the arc. So 12 degrees wouldn't work there. So 8 degrees worked great. 8 degrees. And I just want to trim off that little piece of the line that I don't need anymore. So click Trim Entities. The one I find works the best is Trim to Closest. So just click the end point of that, the end point of that, and we're nearly ready. If I want this hollow to remain hollow, I have to make sure that this line does not cut across it. So you can add dimensions for this if you want, but I'm simply going to draw a line down and a line across. over here, a line up and a line across, select, and I'll just use a 3-point arc to close the loop. Because now I have an entire closed loop between the two lines, the curve, and those lines I've just drawn. It's not critical that they're fully defined or dimensioned, I should say. It's just critical that they're inside the solid like that. Now I do like to fully define everything, so I will go again and select fully defined sketch, press the green tick, and it should do that for me. So now with the sketch there, I'm in a position to do this. I can go to Features, Extruded Boss Base. It should pick up that profile for me. And I obviously wanted to go the opposite direction, so I will use the flip button. The wall thickness of that is going to be 3 millimeters. And if I press OK on that, I now have that rib, and the hollow is still there. The only thing that's left to do is to remove the sharp corners, and especially when it comes time to render, you want to get rid of all these sharp corners. They're not realistic, and they also really help the render when the time comes. So if I just add on, say, a large radius fillet there of approximately, let's just give that maybe a 4 mil radius, and the same at the bottom there, maybe a bit too big. And also at the edges there, it's a little bit too big. So we'll just set that down to maybe 3 mil or so. It will not apply the fillet if it's too big. So if you ever try to apply a fillet and it just won't take, there's a good chance that that fillet is too big for that. So obviously I need to change it back to symmetric first of all, and now of course it will take the 3 mil fillet. So press OK on that. And all of these sharp edges, you obviously can't put a very large fillet on those edges, but it's still better to put a fillet on, in my opinion. So I'm going to put a small fillet on, let's just say a 0.5 millimeter onto those edges there and there. And it just takes the sharp look off them. So again, if you click a line there, which I've just done, and it cancels it, I now know that that will not take a 0.5 millet, so I'll take that one off again. And it's trial and error, making your way around the entire model and trying to apply as many fillets as you can to make it look more realistic. So you can spend a few minutes filleting even inside the handle, like so. Give that a fillet there, give that a fillet, and it really improves the render. And it's much more realistic. If you look at this blender in reality, there are no very sharp edges. They all tend to have a slight easing like that. Okay, so press OK on that. And that's pretty much the handle. Okay, so while I'm here, I'll just very quickly show you how to put material onto it. I'm going to call up this Appearances, Scenes and Decals tab. I will select Appearances. I find, and I have rendered a couple of dozen of these, and the best results I got were achieved when instead of putting on plastic, I put on glass. So select Gloss, Clear Gloss, and simply drag and drop that onto the solid and click Accept when it says Body. So obviously this is not a proper real-time render, it's just a low-res sample, but when you render that, you'll get an image similar to that one that you saw in the introductory slides. So thanks for listening. That concludes video number 2. Remember to join us again for video number 3, where we're going to work on the Blender blade, and also keep an eye out on the GMIT Letterfrack YouTube channel for more videos focused around this year's DCG student assignment. Looking forward to talking to you in video 3.